Okay, I love this comment. This was a comment on my H1B video talking about how Canada is doing the right thing by introducing a new visa scheme to attract the H1Bs that the US is rejecting. All right. So this comment was about how we should also do something about encouraging entrepreneurs and startups to move to Canada. Fun fact, I actually came on a business visa. So that's how I entered Canada. I came on a self employment business stream visa, which, unlike the regular employment stream, takes much longer. I had to wait for my process for 2 full years. It took 2 years of processing for me to get that visa and be able to move to Canada under that stream. Since then, since I moved, it's become even more difficult. So the last time I checked, and I don't need to check it that frequently, so maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think right now it takes 5 years to come through that screen. Now, I'm not complaining about how long that takes. It's because it's very difficult to verify self-employed income, right? So if you have your own business, it's very easy to set up a shell company and do all sorts of financial engineering. So they really have to be thorough with that verification process, because every country that I've seen that has introduced a similar type of visa. The UK has one where you invest like £200,000 and you get an entrepreneur visa. They had to cancel that later because it was just very difficult to verify. It's very difficult to make sure that these are real business people that are coming in. Uh, Canada also had a startup visa. If you look back on it, the startup visa scheme was a little more had an extra hurdle, in that you had to have launched a startup that was funded by a verified venture capital fund or by a university. So if it's supported by a university or it's supported by a VC firm here in Canada, you can get that startup visa. I don't know if that's still around. I don't know if the startup visa is still around. But my point being, it's very difficult to set this up in a way that random people don't take advantage of. So I have a better idea. We should attract people who either have business experience or startup ideas, or have already gone through the verification, like the H1Bs. They've already been verified for having really good skills. But the government should step in and fund their idea. So the government should be investing in startups. If you think about it, they should be putting money out there, which is risk-free capital, for people to launch technology companies and defense companies that we need of right now. And in a way, we are already doing that, like if you think about it, because of the defense needs. The Carney government is deploying billions of dollars into defense companies. We should be doing something similar for AI companies and taking a stake in them, because now we have the government's a VC firm. We should be taking a stake in them, just like the Americans are doing with Intel and all those other companies that they want to take a stake in. And then in the future, when one of these tech startups turns into a big tech giant, they're not beyond control. All right, we can put a government representative on the board and control these firms before they get out of hand, before they start doing absolutely reckless nonsense with our democracy and with our economy. So yeah, I think the government should be stepping in and funding these people, and that way we could even attract more entrepreneurs to move here, because at the end of the day, if they can get the funding for their idea, that's where they're going to move. A lot of engineers from Waterloo move to San Francisco. They move to Silicon Valley simply because they know that's where the funding is. They know that's where they're going to get money to turn their tiny little idea into a multi-million or a multi-billion dollar enterprise. It's one of the few places in the world that has enough capital to do that. We don't have that capital in Canada because you guys have been investing too much in real estate. That's a story for another day, which is why the government needs to step in and put that risk-free capital into just the riskiest ventures.